Hi crafters, my name is Diane, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful poinsettia card using the Creekbank Creations Poinsettia Die Set. I'm also going to share some tips and tricks of how I was able to get so much dimension out of my poinsettias, and I'm also going to show you on these spring type flowers how I also got extra dimension out of them. The first thing I'm going to do is show you the Poinsettia Die Set from Creekbank Creations. This is the die set that I used, and it comes with 4 different plates. And the idea of having these plates is because you can make small, medium, and large poinsettias. So for an example, if I take this entire plate, I would put it on a piece of paper, run it through my die cut machine, and it will come out looking like this. So with just one pass, I'm going to get all the pieces that I need to make my large poinsettia flower. So now that I have my poinsettia cut out, I'm going to show you how I've got so much dimension out of it. So I usually start making my flowers and shaping them by using a little piece of what I call fun foam. You can buy it at the Dollar Tree or Dollar General for like $1 for a pack of it. It's just several different pieces of thin foam. What that does is it leaves a little bit of a cushion. So when I start using my stylus on my flowers, it helps to bring the petals into better shape. There's several different tools that you can use. This is what they call the paper tool kit. It's just like a big stylus of different sizes. You can also use, I have a stylus that came out of a Cricut, your regular stylus you use for scoring. You can actually use the tip of a ballpoint pen. There's your bone folder. You can use your bone folder. I'm going to show you a couple different ways of how we can make this work. And the other thing that I like to do is I like to dampen my piece of paper that I'm working with. So you can take a fine mister and you can mist your flower that you're working on, or because sometimes it gives me overspray, I'm not real happy about that. So what I do is I use the Creekbank Creation Wonder Wipe in their holder. And I actually, this one here I want to curl under, so what I do is I lay it face down. I do a tap, tap, tap because I've already wet my cloth. And you're going to notice that it gets damp on the other side of it, okay? So once it's damp, I lay it upside down. Well, it's face down, I'm sorry. I lay it face down on my foam. I'm going to grab the small paper tool out of here, which looks like a small stylus, and then I'm just going to start drawing a circle in the center of my petal. And then I'm going to draw a circle going up towards the different areas of the other petals. And as you can see, as I'm doing this, my flower petals are starting to curl up. So you can see that they're starting to curl up all on their own as I'm going around in circles. Now there's another step you could do. You can take your petal, as you can see it's all shaping up like this. You can also take your bone folder and you can run your bone folder like so on the petals, and that will give them even more curve if you want more curve to them. And then we're going to do the same thing to the next piece. So now I'm going to take my next size, which is the medium. I'm going to lay it face down on my Wonder Wipe. You could use a sponge. Make the surface a little bit damp. And then I'm going to put it on my fun foam. This time I'm going to grab the stylus that came with my Cricut. I'm just going to start drawing in circles. And as I'm going in circles, you will see that the petals are starting to curl up. You can also draw straight lines going up your petals, which will give you a little bit of a crease look on the opposite side for your petals. And as you can see, these are starting to roll up all by themselves. So now I have another one that is rolled up. If I turn it over, you can see that it stands up and is curved. And again, there's another way you can do it. You can also take your bone folder, curve it if you choose to, and then we have our second piece of our flower. And then we're going to go into the center. I'm going to wet it on my Wonder Wipe. I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to choose my small stylus. I'm going to draw little circles. And you can actually see as I'm drawing the circles, this one's really curling up. I'm going to draw a couple of lines. You can also do little circles. And as you can see, that stands right up for you. Okay, then I'm going to put these three together. Well, actually, I'm going to back up here. Hang on a second. I'm also going to show you, just for a quick little demo, if we were to do this on, let's just say, a purple daisy flower. Okay, so I want this one to curve up, so I'm going to set this one down on my piece of foam. Whoops, I'm going to take my stylus, I'm going to start drawing circles, and you're going to see it starts moving immediately. It starts curling up. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing to the next piece. We're going to put it, dampen it. I'm actually going to dampen a couple at a time here just to make it go quicker. And by dampening it, it also, what it does, or misting it, whichever you choose to do, it makes it so that it stays longer, so it doesn't eventually lay down. It stays up. Okay, so we're just going to make little circles. And as you can see, they're all standing up now. Okay, and again, if you chose to, you can do the same thing with these petals. If you want them to be more curved, you can just take your bone folder and just kind of slide it, and you can make them even stand up further. So to layer this daisy together, we're just going to do the simple little, put a dot of glue in the center, put the next size one over top of it, alternate my petals, press them all together. And as you can see, we've made a pretty little purple daisy that has dimension to it. So now we're going to go back and we're going to put together our poinsettia. I am going to use some pop dots and glue dots to put together my poinsettia. Creekbank Creations has made a die called Pop Dot Die. What this die does is it will actually cut out your own personal pop dots. We use the double adhesive foam from Creekbank Creations. You put your die set over top of the foam and you run it right through your big kick. When you're done, it's going to come out looking like this. So now you're going to have pop dots. There's going to be some long ones, some short ones. And the other thing that's really nice is you can have the smallest scrap pieces, and you can just lay your pop dot die on it, and you can cut out just a little, use up all those extra pieces by making little pop dots. So now I'm going to take one of my pop dots, and I'm going to place it in the center of my largest poinsettia petal. I'm going to take my medium I'm going to alternate the petals and place it over top of it. And then I'm going to take my smallest one, and I'm actually going to use a glue dot on this one, or you could use a dot of glue. Use my glue dot, and I'm going to place this in the center. And now, as you can see, we have lots of dimension to our poinsettia flower. And then I also take and I put 2 glue dots on the back side of it. I'm going to stack 2 on top of each other because there's quite a bit of depth in there, so that when I go to place it on my card, I won't squish it down and it'll be able to keep that depth that's there. So now when I put it on my card, it's going to not squish my petals out flat. So now we're going to add our leaves to our poinsettia. So I cut out my leaves, and now I'm going to do the same process that I did for the flower. So I'm going to take my leaves, I'm going to lay them on my dampened Wonder Wipe, or you can mist them with your spray. And then I'm going to set them on my fun foam, and you can do it with your stylus by just drawing circles and straight lines. I like to put the heavier straight lines in my holly leaves because I like that little vein look of it running down through there. So you would just start curling it. I like to do a straight line to give me more of a vein look on my leaves. So I'm just going to kind of draw a straight line. And you can see the more you keep working it, the more that it curls. So you're going to work it to however much you want it to curl up. And you can also use your bone folder, give it another little twist if you want more curl or less curl. Then you don't have to do that. And then again, I'm going to take and I'm going to put pop dots on the ends of the leaves. The reason I'm using foam dots for the ends of the leaves is because for me, I want to have lots of dimension to my flowers. So by doing that, it will allow me to put that underneath the spot where the flower bends down and not again allow it to crush my flower. So if I take my poinsettia and I lay my leaf under here and press, I'm going to put another one somewhere around in here, and I curved those going up because the other part of the poinsettia was going down. There we go. And now we have our poinsettia with our holly leaves on it. And next I am going to show you how I did the center. So for the center, I used the Creek Bank Creation Shake and Rattle Filler, the mini pebbles in yellow. And what I do is I take a little lid of some kind because these pebbles roll all over the place. So I'm going to set my poinsettia down in my little, it's actually a lid to a buttercup. And I'm going to drop a drop of the Art Institute glue right in the center of my poinsettia. I'm going to take just a little scoop here. I happen to have an old McDonald's spoon, and I'm going to dump my little round beads right on top of that glue. And this is why I use the buttercup, because they kind of go all over the place. The first time I did this, they did not want to stay on there at all. But I learned that if you put a bigger pile of glue on there, they will stay on there a little bit better for you. And then I just kind of push it around till I get the shape that I want. And then I just push it off to the side and let it dry. So something else that I want to share with you is, as you saw me when I was putting those little pebbles on my poinsettia, they had a tendency to want to roll off a little bit. I had to do it a couple of times. It wasn't that hard, but sometimes my hand gets shaky or it annoys me and I couldn't do it. So I come up with this really cool idea. So when you make your pop dots, you know how you have the little circles left over? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my empty pot dot holes, okay, and I'm going to just show you on this holly leaf. Okay, I'm going to place it right in the center of where I want it. I'm going to take my glue, I'm going to fill that little center with glue, and then I'm going to take my little pebbles and I'm going to put that right inside and press it down. And what that's going to do is it's going to make me a perfect circle, and it also helps it so they don't roll over as much. And then you're just going to pull that up and you're going to have your circle right on top of your holly leaf. And then you can push it around a little if you choose to, or you can leave it the way it is. And as a close-up, you can see this one has already dried, and it gives you a much taller center if you want a tall center by using the center hole for the pop dots to hold it in place. It'll give you a taller center. These ones here, I actually put the glue and I placed them in individually with my tweezers, so you can just find out what works the best for you and do it with however it works best. So now that I showed you how to make the large poinsettia flower, I went ahead and made the medium one so that it didn't take up our time. All I did was repeat the steps that I did for the first one. So now we have our base that we're going to make on our card. And to make the base, I used the Creek Bank Creations Slim Tri Circle Die. So it's called the Slim Tri Circle Die from Creek Bank Creations. It looks like this. And what I did was, for my base, I took a piece of paper that was 8 by 9 1/4 and just folded it in half. So I took a white piece of paper that was 8 by 9 1/4, folded it in half. Okay. Then I took the outside die that has the scalloped edge on it, and I placed it on a piece of paper that was 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, and I ran that through my die machine, and it comes out looking like this. Then I took a green piece of paper. Let's see, switch it around here. Took the green piece of paper and I laid the square die on it. Then I took the circle dies and I placed those where I wanted them. I lined them up approximately in the center, and then I ran those through the die cut machine. And when that comes out, it will look like this. Then I took my base card and I glued on my red border. Then I'm going to take my green and you would glue it in here. Now to do the Merry Christmas that's in the center, all you would have to do is take a stamp and stamp your message that you want in the center. But because sometimes my stamping doesn't always come out perfect, what I did was I stamped on just a scrap piece of paper. Then I took a circle die that was just slightly bigger than the circle that was here, and I cut out the word Merry Christmas. This way I wasn't going to ruin my whole card and I'd have to start over again if my stamping didn't come out right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my Merry Christmas and I'm going to glue it right on the back of this so that it's going to show through. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my glue, make sure I get the back side of it here, and I'm just going to draw a circle around my center, and I'm going to take my Merry Christmas, I'm going to center it and line it up and press it down. Now this step you could skip because like I said, you can just put it here and tape it or put it here and then stamp in the middle of it. But I choose to do it this way because then if I make a mistake, I'm not ruining my whole card. And just to make it a little bit faster, I'm going to glue the back of my green piece. And I'm going to center this in my card. And then we're ready to put our poinsettias in. So I'm going to take the poinsettias that I already made. I put 2 pop dots on the back of it to make it so it stands up. I'm going to center it where I want it here. Press it down, and by putting the 2 pop dots on it, when you press it down, you're not flattening all that work you did getting your flower to stand up. On this one I put 1 because it's not quite as deep because it's the medium flower, and I'm going to put this approximately in the center and press down. And now as you can see, we have our beautiful poinsettia card. The Merry Christmas sentiment I used from Creekbank Creations Homespun Christmas set. That's where I got the sentiment Merry Christmas. And just for fun, I'm going to show you how I made this card using the same type technique with the flowers as I did with the poinsettias. I used the Creekbank Creation Funky Flower die set, which comes with 42 dies. These are all the different dies in the die set. And what I did is I used the daisy flowers, the splash flowers, and these flowers, and then I used this set of leaves to make the flowers on this card. And I also used the mason jar die set to do the mason jar, and I used the Get Well sentiments that die cut out to put the Get Well on it. So I die cut my flowers that look like this, and I put this one together earlier in the video when I was showing you. So to give you a really fast rundown again for a preview, what I did was I took the Creekbank Creations Wonder Wipe, I misted it with some water to dampen it. I take my flowers, I lay them on there so they get damp. Then I bring them over to my foam and I just start swirling in circles. And as you can see, they start curling up. And I'm going to do that to all my pieces. Like I said, I'm going to do this really quick here so that I'm not taking up a lot of time. So there's another one. Another piece. And a center. Now I can go ahead and do the same thing with these other petals. Okay, so we're going to draw circles. I'm going to draw little lines going up on them. Keep spinning them around, and as you can see, they're forming the petals in an upward motion. And then I'm just going to take my glue, and I'm going to stick it in the center of each one. There, and then we have our funky flower, and we're going to do one more real quick. And there we go, we have our next flower. Okay, so now I have my 3 flowers, and then all I did was cut my leaves in my jar. It's pretty self-explanatory after this point, and I put it together. Now what I did do, and I don't know if you can see it or not, just for fun because they were called funky flowers, I put a little cookie monster in that one. I put some little yellow little yellow seeded things, and this is all stuff that came out of Creek Bank Creations Shake and Rattle filling. So I have put mine in little containers. But as you can see, maybe if I bring it up close, they have all kinds of different fillings that you can put into either shaker cards or use it for just little embellishments on your card. There's some cute strawberries, some cookie monsters, some hearts, Santa faces, all different kinds of things. All of the products that I used today were from Creek Bank Creations. You can go see their products online at www.creekbankcreations.com. I want to thank you all for watching and hope you have a great day.